Hello, I'm Alexandra Sleator, Career Accelerator, and in this video I'm going to give you 2 tips on how to interview well. So let's get started. The first tip is build rapport. We all know that we like to recruit someone that we can imagine as part of the team. So the most important part really is chemistry. I remember if I had 2 candidates and they both had the same level of experience, I would always pick the one that I could readily imagine as part of my team. And as a matter of fact, when I had 2 candidates and one possibly had a little bit less experience, but I could see that he could learn, or she, but I could also spot that this person had more chemistry with the rest of my team, then this is the person that I would give the job to. So indeed, chemistry is absolutely paramount in getting the interview right. So how do you project chemistry? How do you come across as the person who is going to fit right into the team, given that after all you don't meet them? Well, you have to establish rapport with the interviewer. And we all know that the first few minutes of a meeting, any meeting, and so an interview is just a meeting really, are absolutely crucial in making first impressions. So go in with a firm handshake, but of course don't crush the person's hands, smile, and make good eye contact, but of course don't glare or stare. There are other aspects to body language, but in the interest of time, these are the 3 important ones that I want to bring to your attention today. The handshake, the smile, and the good eye contact. And let me take this opportunity to remind you that I have a completely free offer for a session together this month on polishing your interview skills. So again, the first one of you who raises his hand, we will be working on how to interview well, and that will include the body language that supports a successful interview. Now, to conclude on this element of building rapport, I have a question for you. When you go into the interview, do you sometimes feel nervous? And if you do feel nervous, do your hands feel clammy? Well, if that's the case, I have a tip for you. Go into the toilet and wash your hands in warm water. So make sure, not cold water, warm water, and towel them dry well. That means that for the next few minutes, even though your body is still exuding some signs of nervousness, the clamminess of the hands will have disappeared because you will have dry and just about warm hands. And so when you do that handshake, the other person will not feel your nervousness, at least not in your hands. So the clamminess is quite a bit of a dead giveaway. So that's why wash your hands in warm water if you feel a little bit clammy, and that will take care of it. So that was the first tip on building rapport. The second tip is what I call the wife mindset. So that's a funny one, because wife here stands for what's in it for the employer. Indeed, what I've seen and what I've heard is that a lot of people who prepare for interviews are told, have 2-3 core messages ready, things that you think are absolutely defining and highly characteristic and in fact differentiate you from the rest. And so, those advisors say, have your 2-3 core messages ready and make sure that you get them across. I don't necessarily disagree that it's good to have in mind, 2 or 3 things about yourself that are absolutely fundamental. But the risk that people run when they are very focused on conveying those 2-3 messages is that they may basically try to use any opportunity in the interview to communicate one of these messages, and that may come as a little bit too forward, as a little bit too much preoccupied with selling yourself, as opposed to wanting to have a dialogue around what are really the job's requirements and whether the firm and you are right for each other. So if you're a little bit too preoccupied with your 2 or 3 core messages, you may be pitching too hard. You may be having a hard sell, and as you may know from your own personal experience, nobody really likes a hard sell. So my advice there is don't pitch. In fact, my recommendation to you is go with the flow. Let the interviewer steer the conversation in the direction that he or she would like. It's true that sometimes interviewers have not prepared very well and they will say, tell me something about yourself. And then it's your cue, of course, to respond. And that will be the subject of my third tip, how do you respond? But some of them have an agenda, and for those of you who watch my previous video on interview tips, I did share with you my 5 lines of inquiry. So I was certainly the kind of interviewer who had an agenda, and I wanted to get through my points. And if somebody was resisting me and trying to tell me things that I wasn't interested, that was not creating the rapport that was going to make this interview a success. So listen, really listen to what the interviewer is sharing with you, especially about the problems that he or she is trying to fix with the recruitment, and then engage in a discussion about how your profile can really help provide a solution to their need. And if you really want to steer the conversation, then don't make statements. Use questions to at least steer the conversation in a collaborative way. So ask things like, what kind of skill gap or resource gap are you trying to close with this recruitment? That's a possible question. Another example is, what kind of business imperative supports this recruitment drive, so that you find out what it is that this whole interview is really about, and that you can pitch your 2 or 3 core messages in the right context, rather than just selling yourself too hard and risking breaking rapport. And also you're losing an opportunity, if you don't listen, to really find out what his job is about. And if you do get the job and you have not really realized what it was about, it could be some negative surprises further down the line. It's important for you at some point to know whether you want that job or not, and if you get the offer, that you know what you're going to let yourself in. So another question that you can ask is, what are the most important elements about my background that you would like to hear about? So that's a question that opens up, again, an opportunity for you to tell about yourself and drive home your messages, but you've done it in a collaborative way with the interviewer, making sure that he or she is going to be interested in your answer. Because if you speak to someone who's not listening, again, that chemistry between the 2 of you is simply not going to be there. So that's my 2 tips for this video. Building rapport and the wife mindset, i.e. keep in mind what's in it for the employer rather than what's in it for you. There will always be time for you at a later stage. And that is something I will cover in my 4th tip. So next video I will tell you about experience stories, which is the way that the powerful way to answer interview questions and really make a strong impression. So I hope you'll be interested in the next 2 tips on interviewing well. Until then, take very good care. Let me know how you like these 2 tips, of course. I'll be very interested to know that. And I'll see you very soon. Take good care, and thanks for watching.